How long have I been live? Guys, what, like 6 minutes? Or so? 5 minutes? 5 minutes? Alright, a couple more. How many people are here? It says, my thing says there are 178 people here. I'm scared. Oh, thank God. Okay, good. Thank God. Dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Hello? Good morning? I forgot it was Animal Quest Day. Welcome back. Hello? Something looks really strange. What? Hair jump scare? Ugh. Is that what looks strange? I'm sorry. Mic is cutting out. I love that. I love that. I don't hear it cutting out. You need me to go? Do I need to go turn it up? I cannot hear mine at all. Your stream's probably muted. Is that ah? Wow. It's a cat. I like it. Alright, what's Animal Quest Day? Ooh, good question. Should I go? I'm gonna go turn it. I'm gonna go turn it up. Should I turn it up? Or no? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, but I have to crawl under all the cords to do so. So if anything gets messed up, it's gonna be on you. Is that better? Are we good? Hi. Is this better? Or you want higher? Good now. I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna do a little more just in case anybody complains, so you can just turn your speakers down if it's too much. Okay. Ugh. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Check out the studio. Wow. This is not an ad, by the way. That's for the parrots, because they're going to come in here. They're going to come in here in a little bit. That was not placement. Somebody said, what is Animal Quest Day? Now I'm too loud in my own ear hole. Hold on. All right. That's a little better. Cool. So Animal Quest is a series on my channel at Alveus, where I spotlight each of the species that we have here. So I've done the donkeys, and I've done our emu, and I've done our snakes, and I have done 3 different parrots. We have 4 parrots total. This is the last parrot Animal Quest, and it is on Miley, our Catalina Macaw. You will meet her in just a little bit, but I'm going to talk about her a little bit first. So it's just like a couple hour stream. We deep dive a little bit more into each of the species and why they're here, what their purpose is at Alveus. You need an iron? Oh my god, okay, let's talk about how badly I need to iron my shirt. Yes, I know, I don't like ironing. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. Ironing shirts is overrated. Connor's got macaws right now. Hello, thank you so much. The angry. Hi, macaws. Welcome. Okay. So the macaws will come out in just a little bit after we do our first survey. But we'll go ahead and get into this month's Animal Quest. It is once a month, and it's the last parrot one. I will say, this being the last parrot one, because I've done 3 parrots, it was a little bit hard to come up with a bunch of stuff to talk about. This one might run a little bit shorter than the other ones, but I did my best. I think there's some really interesting stuff in here, so I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you learn a little bit. The first one was Siren, our blue-fronted Amazon. It was kind of like an umbrella for our parrots and why they're all here. Then I did Mia, our African Grey. I talked about parrot intelligence on that one if you want to check it out. And then I did Tico, our blue and gold macaw. I talked about palm oil and a little bit about conservation and habitat loss for those birds. So we touch on some of those things here, and this presentation's a little different because I talk about hybridization and artificial selection, because Miley is a Catalina Macaw, and you'll learn a little bit more about what that means in today's presentation. Let's see. Well, I didn't do, you can read what it says, right? Piece it together. Okay. So before I start the Animal Quest presentations, I need to get on this monitor. We watch a video on this ambassador, or the ambassador themselves and their story as an individual. Danny made this video. People claps for Danny. It's a really good one. So this is who Miley is. Let them live together is what that says. And they were brought to Alveus together in April of 2021. Hello. So, quick video on that. Miley is the parrot that we probably have the least amount of information on, or the least amount of oh, this is really annoying. Normally I have a stream deck. The chinchillas chewed through the stream deck wire. So we don't have a stream deck anymore. So I'm having to click through between monitors, click it on OBS. But we'll have a stream deck next time. Sorry about that. Miley we probably have the least information about. She was adopted from Mickaboo, which is a big bird rescue in California. Was brought to Michelle's place, which is where we got all 4 parrots, and she pair bonded with Tico. They've been together for a number of years, but that is pretty much all we know about Miley right now. We don't know how old she is. I have to find the mouse again, please. What is the... Oh, that's going to be so annoying. Okay. All right. Natural history. So, like I said, Miley is a Catalina Macaw. What does that mean? I'm killing it today with this present. So far, it's going great. I will read you what that says. Okay. Catalina Macaw is a hybrid between 2 different naturally occurring species of macaw, a blue and gold and a scarlet. You guys know blue and gold macaws because we have Tico, and the last Animal Quest was on blue and gold macaws. Scarlet macaws you have not seen. We don't have one here, but you've definitely seen them before. That's your, like, classic red rainbow parrot, right? Blue and gold macaws native to the rainforests in Mexico, Central America, and northern Southern America. They're listed as least concern, but their populations are declining. They went extinct in Trinidad. We talked about that a little bit. There are places where they are endangered, but overall, they're classified right now as least concern. Blue, yellow, green plumage. Tico is going to be out here with Miley as well today, so you'll see her too. Scarlet macaws, they're native from southern Mexico to Peru, Bolivia, and eastern Brazil and Trinidad. Their IUCN status is also least concern, but same thing, population's declining. There are places where they are critically endangered, and they have blue, yellow, green, and red plumage. What does Miley eat? Absolutely kill. Hold on. Space, can you make these monitors so I can just move the mouse like directly from one monitor to the other? Because I don't know how they're set up right now with like the display, but it makes it really hard. Also, is there not a lower left cam option? Because that's where my cam is supposed to be, but I'll just move it. Okay. Desktop and cam. Oh. Sorry, Space is hovering, showing me where to put my camera, or where to... Okay. Try to do this. Okay. So normally when I do these presentations, I talk about wild diet, what they eat in the wild, but because Catalina... Thank you, Space. Because Catalina macaws don't exist in the wild, I did a little breakdown of what we feed them here at Alveus. You guys see me make parrot diets every week. They get a pretty intense, pretty hardcore blend of things. So here's a little pie chart. They get Supreme pellets coated in red palm oil. That's like 30% of their diet or so. They get 30% Harrison's adult lifetime course pellets. That's that top right picture. Harrison's is really expensive. Do you guys remember how much a bag of Harrison's is? They're like, it's like dumb. It's $100 for 20 pounds. Ish. $25 for a 5-pound bag. It's like top of the line pellets that we feed our parrots here. So they get half of that and half Supreme in their pellets. They get a couple nuts or seeds every day, and then they eat the chop. You guys have seen me make chop a bunch of times. So fruits, vegetables, more vegetables than fruits. But yeah, that is what they eat at Alveus. We're gonna go ahead and do this first survey so we can bring our parrots out in a second. If you guys haven't been here for a survey, it's super easy. We're just going to blow through some of the questions. You can answer in chat with an A, B, C, or D, I believe, or E in this case. Please only participate in the survey if you're over 18. We're collecting a little bit of information to learn more about conservation education online.
25-pound bag is $185.
A 25-pound bag of the Harrisons is $185. Oh my god. That is crazy. Okay, how likely are you to get a parrot as a pet? If you already have a parrot, please answer about the likelihood that you will get another parrot. Lots of people saying A. Most of you are not interested in getting a parrot. Good to know. Good to know. Great. Easy. 86% said A. Next question is going to ask you why that is. Please select all statements that apply to your reason for the response above. A, because I believe parrots make good pets. B, because I believe parrots are intelligent animals. C, because I believe most parrots are sold legally. D, because I believe parrots do not make good pets. E, because I believe most parrots are sold illegally. You can answer, you can do multiple if you'd like, but yeah, everybody's showing you how to do it in chat. You just type the letter of what you would like to select. Thank you very much. Again, only if you're over 18. Pretty please. 61% are saying D. Cool. Foot. All right, next question. Thank you. We got 3 more here. We're going through them. Your age range. A, B, C, D, E. Are you 18 to 27, 28 to 37, 38 to 47, 48 to 57, or 58 plus? I am 24. Seeing lots of A's. I'm seeing lots of B's. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Didn't she just buzz her head a year ago? How's it that long? Yeah, I feel like everyone's really surprised at how fast my hair grew, but I feel like it's been a really long time. It's been like a year and a half, right? Okay, thank you very much. Your gender, male, female, non-binary. I'm sorry, female, male, non-binary. That's A, B, C. This one's always so alarming. How many B's there are? The whole chat. Holy cow. Okay. So far, 76% male. Cool. You're missing below 18 in that one. If you're below 18, you shouldn't be participating in the survey. Please smile. All right, 74% male. Nice. 21% female, 5% non-binary. Highest education level: A, high school; B, college 2-year degree; C, college 4-year degree; D, graduate degree. Thank you so much for bearing with me here. So this is like if you're in college right now but you don't have your degree yet, then it would be high school. Or if you're, or if you have an associate's, then it's going to be B. What about dropouts? Then, well, what college? Then you'd say high school. If you dropped out of high school, then I guess you wouldn't. Okay, 38% with a high school degree, thank you. 30% with a college 4-year degree. Last question? Do you currently own any pets? If yes, what kind? So you're going to do hashtag answer, type out hashtag answer, and then your answer. So if your answer is a dog, it'll be hashtag answer dog. Or hashtag answer no. Hashtag answer cat dog. Hashtag answer whatever you got. Man, you guys are great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's really nice. We've done this a few times. I know. This is the last one too. Guys, this is the last one for that research study. This is the last survey. I mean, we have the second survey in this presentation, but after this, there are no more surveys on the Animal Quest. So, kind of sad. All right. That should do. Good? All right. Okay, thank you so much. That was survey number 1. We're going to do another one after that. But right now, we can meet the birdies. You guys have already met them, but they're going to come out and hang out here with me. And I'm going to keep a little distance. Kayla's here. Kayla's been sitting with them right here. So she's getting them out right now. Hello. I know. Wow, beautiful birdies. Yay. I already say bye, Kayla. Thank you, Kayla. Yay. Treats. There are treats in here, and there are treats and toys in this box. It's not an ad. So we'll see if oh, you dropped it. There's a tweet in there. So today, the one that I just gave that to, that is Miley. The Animal Quest today is all about her. Beautiful Catalina Macaw. Tico is a blue and gold macaw. Tico's just going to hang out today because they're friends and they want to hang out together. But it's about Miley today. Pretty cool. Catalina Macaw is beautiful. Crazy, right? Insane looking bird. But they're both really pretty. They both look really good. Huh. Okay. Well, I think you probably wanted that. That is tough. That is tough. Okay. Let's. All right. Here we go. Okay. So, we talked a little bit about this with Tico. Both of these birds overlap in the Amazon. This picture is the distribution for scarlet macaws. And the blue and gold macaw map is pretty similar. And that's the Amazon rainforest. The Amazon rainforest is the world's largest rainforest. It is twice the size of India. It's huge. Like every time I say that, I'm surprised. It's a massive, massive rainforest. It houses 10% of the world's biodiversity. 10% of the world's biodiversity. And we have lost, oh my gosh, there's a typo in an Animal Quest. I'm embarrassed. We've lost 17 to 20% of that forest cover during the last half century. So I played that video twice in the Amazon, or in Sirens Animal Quest and in this Animal Quest. We lose, what was it? It was it 1 or 3 football fields a minute to deforestation in the Amazon? It is absurd. The amount of carbon that is released is insane. I just wanted to highlight that a little bit because it's important, and that's where Miley is from. These 2 birds, the blue and gold macaws and scarlet macaws. So, talk a little bit about scarlet macaws. Like I said, this is half of Miley, and there's a little video here of where they're at right now in terms of conservation. They're having an excellent time right now tearing up this box. So if you hear some random noises, it's them playing with what's in this box. Okay? That's what's going on. Or if you hear them making... We'll talk a little bit more about how destructive macaws are too later. All right, here we go. There's wood blocks in the box and some nuts and seeds and tissue paper. Ooh.
So, when I was a child, the macaws were thick here. They were flying everywhere. And then, they started to disappear.
Thank you, Space. Space is turning it up.
Every day during the breeding season of the scarlet macaw, the people of Mabita prepare to patrol the thick pine forests of the Honduran Mosquitia.
In 2014, we were able to document that every nest in this core conservation area of Mabita was poached.
Ah, that sucks.
Nothing escaped the illegal wildlife trade. It was very disheartening.
Poaching is the #1 threat to the scarlet macaw, largely driven by a domestic and international pet trade. It's estimated only 1,500 scarlet macaws are left in Central America. About 500 of them live in this one region of Honduras.
In Honduras, most of the chicks go to Bay Island. For the tourists and hotels, loves parrots, loves macaws, and they use as attraction. But I think they don't know, or they don't want to know, the damage that they are causing in the wild.
In the 1980s, Honduras exported some 12,000 birds per year, mostly parrots and macaws, to the U.S. pet trade. Honduras declared the activity illegal in 1990, but it's estimated that hundreds of scarlet macaw chicks are still taken from the Mosquitia every year through a network of poachers, middlemen, and international traffickers.
We had people for the last 2 years from China boating up and down the river between Nicaragua and Honduras asking to buy eggs and chicks. So these birds are being trafficked to Asia and probably India and Arabia as well, because you will see these species of birds in pet stores there.
The Abu Pani Project, which means scarlet macaw in mosquito, started with the small village of Mabita in 2010.
I was somewhat startled to hear the people here saying we don't see our parrots anymore and we would be interested in seeing if we can protect them.
Thanks to funders like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, it's the largest community-patrolled parrot conservation area in Latin America. The patrols have significantly reduced poaching. The patrols that began in Mabita are now taking place in 6 different communities throughout the Mosquitia.
We banned them because, one, we can tell one chick from the other, and 2, if the poachers take them, we know there are birds.
But it's also dangerous. The men and women who patrol these woods must also confront poachers.
En el río Rufus, ahí me balearon.
I was in the river taking a bath, and suddenly, I don't know how many of them, people behind the bushes started shooting at me. Thank God I survived. And after that, I felt that I loved the macaws more because I was fighting for them. I feel that this love is for them.
For decades, poaching scarlet macaw chicks was the primary way people here made a living.
I used to be a poacher. I would climb the trees and take out the chicks. There's no opportunity for us, and that's the reason why we used to be poachers.
Today, the Apupani Project provides a better way. Team members receive a salary of about $8 a day versus $20 to $60 for one poached bird. They can provide for their families by helping the macaws instead of selling them.
It's a hard thing to
With
navigate.
projects like this, we can
Really
help
hard.
the poachers to be conservationists.
Project members have established the Rescue and Liberation Center of Mabita for birds confiscated from poachers and traffickers. Here, they care for the macaws
That's what their chop looks
until they
like.
can be released back in the wild.
Before I started working with the macaws, my life was really different. I decided to work for the
Babies.
macaws. I've never earned any income, and so I benefit, and so do the birds. I can really see that the future of the birds is tied into the well-being of the people here.
Yeah, Gal, you
That
can't
as
normal.
the project goes forward, it will help the birds as well as the people.
Bueno, mi visión es seguir adelante.
I have a vision for the project here and the macaws here. We just have to keep going forward. We have to leave something for our children.
This is a longer video than I normally include in Animal Quest. I was going to only watch the first 3 minutes, but then I was like, you know what? I'll just watch the whole thing. It's a good video. It's a good video. So yeah, there's a little bit of background on, you know, I really am kind of confused on how scarlet macaws and blue and gold macaws are still listed as least concern, because every time I read about their conservation, it's like, yeah, there's only like 500 of them. You know, there's only like 1,000 of them here. Maybe they just haven't been reevaluated, but they're definitely declining, and it's in a pretty severe way in a lot of places. This is our first. Here's our first poll. A little quiz for you. It's not a quiz because you might not know the answer, but you can make your best guess. How many individual scarlet macaws are left in Belize? You think it's 1,000, 650, 400, or 250? This is in Belize. All of Belize. How many scarlet macaws are there? I'm seeing lots of C's. some bees. It's not overwhelming. People on Google right now. It's not that serious. You get no penalty if you get it wrong. And you get no reward if you get it right. You can have a QTC cookie if you get it right. Are you ready? Here we go. Ding dong. Sorry, this should be off. Okay, 43% of you think it's 400. Sad. 250. That's it. Scarlet macaws left in all of Belize. Pretty insane, like you saw in that video. 100% of the nests that they're trying to protect are getting poached. It is just remarkably easy to take a baby bird out of a nest and then transport them. We'll talk a little bit more about what that transport looks like later in this presentation. What percentage of wild scarlet macaws have been captured and sold by wildlife traffickers in Guatemala? So now, what percent of the wild population has been captured and trafficked in Guatemala? By trafficked, I mean sold for the illegal pet trade. This is 100% about you, but it's a little much right now. Okay? Thank you. All right. A, B, C, or D? Lots of people saying D. Lots of people saying D. A lot of people saying C too. Do you think it's 20%, 70%, 80%, or 90% of wild macaws being trafficked in Guatemala? Can you move the bird into the camera view? Yeah, Space, is that possible? Can you recrop my cam here just to, you can cut off all this and then try to get Miley in there? That'd be helpful. If that's possible. You just drag it with Alt. Yeah. You can just get Miley in it. You can get both of them. That's fine. Yeah. And then, is that, all right. We'll see if it cuts it off. That's okay. All right. 51% of you think that it's 90%. I need to get back on the presentation so I can use it. Hold on. 70%. So I guess that's better than 90. But 70% of the wild population being captured and trafficked is still absurd in all of Guatemala. This is just for scarlet macaws. So then, we'll talk about, like I just said, we'll talk about what that process looks like. What percentage of trafficked wild parrots die in transit before reaching a purchaser? Do you think it's A, 20 to 30%, B, 40 to 50%, C, 50 to 60%, or D, 70 to 80%? This means when they capture those birds and then they go to transport them. This is just a block. Just a wood block. What percent of them die before reaching a purchaser in transit? 11% think A, 34% think B, 44% think C, 10% think D. This is the last poll question we have on here. What do you think, Miley? Yeah? Do you want this? Oh, here you go. All right, 42% think 50 to 60%, 70 to 80%. So they'll poach like every nest and try to go sell them, but 70 to 80% of them die before they're even sold off. So it's for nothing. It is for nothing. Why even try then? Because the price that they get for these birds is pretty absurd. They make more money doing this that it doesn't really matter. You know, it's if they can get a couple of them there, if they can get 20%, 30% of them, they're doing really well financially. So that statistic sucks. And I'll show you why that is, right? So these aren't like bird people, zoo people, Space, what are you doing? These aren't bird people, zoo people, they're poachers. So they don't know how to transport these birds safely, okay? And I have a little thing over this, so if you don't want to look at these images, you don't have to. But this is how some of these birds are transported. wrapped in cardboard like this. I'm not sure at this point if these birds are dead or alive. These are Eclectus parrots. So not surprising that they don't make it in conditions like this. A lot of birds, okay, transported in very small cages, and lots of them, to be honest. This picture is probably the least graphic one that I could find on how birds are actually transported, how wild birds are transported. It gets a lot worse. One of the common ways to transport them is in water bottles. I'm not sure why that makes it so much easier. I don't know if it's just because it's easier to sneak them through customs that way. But a lot of birds are put into water bottles and transported that way and don't make it. I've also heard stories of birds that are put inside the hubcaps of cars to be driven across the border. So you take off the hubcap, put the baby bird in, close the hubcap. So they're like, you know, on the highway, like going across the border that way. And a lot of them don't make it through that. So that's why that percentage of them dying in transit is so high. Is because they're transported that way, because they have to be snuck through customs or snuck across the border. So there's a little view into that. We talked about blue and gold macaws last Animal Quest, so I'll go over it pretty quick. There are thousands of blue and gold macaw chicks that are exported out of South America every year. When I say thousands, I mean it's more than like a couple thousand. I don't have a number for you, but you know, we've been talking about this for a while. You can imagine it is a lot of birds. Blue and gold macaws went extinct in Trinidad in the 1960s due to the pet trade and habitat loss, but mainly the pet trade. And they've reintroduced those birds back into Trinidad. They're doing okay. But, you know, they went extinct there at one point because of this. Populations are decreasing for blue and gold macaws. Blue and gold macaw, like Tico. You can see her head in the corner of the cam. So that's a little bit about conservation. Now, we're going to talk about hybridization, because like I said, Miley is a hybrid bird. She is a scarlet macaw and a blue and gold macaw together. People have asked me if that's healthy, if that's okay. When I had Orion, a peregrine prairie falcon, people asked the same question. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is it irresponsible? And it's a very complicated conversation. I'm going to start by giving you some bad cases of hybridization and artificial selection, and then we'll talk about how there are some good things that can come out of it too. But there's no like concrete, this is good, this is moral, this is bad, this is immoral to this conversation, but it's a conversation to be had. So, hybridization. And, sorry, I'm trying to. Hybridization and artificial selection. Here's more examples of different hybrid macaws. I don't remember what all of these are called, but there's lots. There's lots of hybrid macaws. And there's lots of cases where hybridization has gone way too far. Pet reptiles, for example. I've talked about this on the snake Animal Quest, the spider wobble. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but there's this huge industry for breeding for color in snakes, in pet snakes. Ball pythons, primarily. There's over 300 color morphs of ball pythons circulating through the pet trade right now. One of the really popular colors is spider morphs, and they're really, really beautiful snakes, but the gene causes a central nervous system disorder that creates this wobble. It's a head wobble. It's a neurological disorder where they cannot balance. And there's a video here that I'm going to show you in a second. But very, very common in these spider morphs is this neurological problem. Similar, same vein, leopard geckos. There are lots of morphs, color morphs for leopard geckos. They're a very, very popular pet. You go to any chain pet store, you are going to see leopard geckos there. So one really popular color morph or kind of color morph in leopard geckos is the Enigma morph. Became popular in 2006, remains in high demand. Same with spiders. When I say spiders, I mean spider morph ball pythons became really popular in the early 2000s. There's still high demand for both spider ball pythons and Enigma leopard geckos. The Enigma morph leopard geckos suffer from what's called stargazing, which is literally where they'll just look up and kind of get stuck there and just kind of like, you know, waver while they're looking up. It's just, yeah, that, you know. Head tilting, seizures are really common. Death rolls, which is where they roll incessantly and kind of get stuck in it because they're seizing, and incessant circling in place. Oh, typo. I meant to delete that. Anyway, that's the same sentence. There are over 300 color morphs of ball pythons circulating in the pet trade. I'm not sure how many color morphs there are of enigma leopard geckos, but here's some of the examples of enigma morph leopard geckos. I think, here's the deal. If you're like a reptile breeder and you know way more about this, it was kind of hard for me to understand the enigma morphs because there are so many different kinds. But here are some color morphs of leopard geckos, okay? These are all spider morph ball pythons. These are just some examples of what they look like. Beautiful snakes. You can breed lots and lots of different colors, but again, all of these snakes are far more likely to have that central nervous system disorder. So what does that look like? For ball pythons, this is a spider morph ball python. Patchy is a ball python. You guys know him, obviously. This is an example of what it looks like when you try to feed a spider morph that has the wobble. He's trying.
Right here.
So if you guys have seen my keeping streams, you've seen how Noodle takes rats, which is pretty typical. She's really good about eating, but she takes rats like a wild snake would strike. So if you compare that to this video, it's pretty obvious like how different it is. Can they survive? Absolutely not in the wild, no. But this is not a naturally occurring color variation. So you get the point, right? Striking how different it is. Insane. And the demand for this morph, for these snakes, because they're so cool looking, is still so high. So they're everywhere. So crazy stuff. This is what it looks like in a leopard gecko. I couldn't find a really good example.
This is Merlin, my
of
leopard gecko.
This is an enigma leopard gecko.
He, as you can probably see, has a balance disorder. And, well, he tends to chase his tail a lot. And he doesn't really know which way's up most of the time. But
especially if you're not used to watching them.
And there he goes circling.
He just ends up circling.
He'll do that. He'll just sit there and do that in his viv. He's quite happy circling. And he feeds really well. He's doing really good, actually. I questioned it when I first got him, but they said it was something to do with the genetics in the enigmas, and I thought I'd give him a chance. So here he is. And he's doing really well, and he makes me laugh every day. And I wouldn't trade him for the world. He's a really, really sweet gecko.
There's a little bit of that head tilt and the stargazing. So that's an example from the pet reptile trade of how breeding for color can affect these individual animals and their quality of life. More examples, dog breeds. You guys may have seen, I've seen more people talking about this in social media recently, but we have gone very far with the kind of dogs that we like, that we think are cute, and we've created so many variations of brachycephalic dogs. So there are some examples. There's a Pekingese, a Boston Terrier, boxers, pugs, some Chihuahuas, lots and lots of types, French bulldogs. And these dogs have brachycephalic means brachy is like what, airway, and cephalic is short, something like that. Maybe I'm getting those mixed up, but it just means short snouts. So they have issues with breathing. They have digestive issues. They can get eye diseases because they have so much extra skin. They have difficulty giving birth, spinal malformations. Exercise and heat intolerance, sleeping difficulties, skin and ear diseases, again, because they have so much skin that folds over itself. They get infections inside of their rolls of skin, dental disease, and many, many more problems that come with this. We have we have artificially selected for disabled animals because we like them aesthetically. Here's a video showing a pug, this woman's pet pug, and some of how this shows up. It says it's a progressive condition. So this is exercise and heat intolerance. Difficulty cooling down. Normal dogs with longer snouts, if you go way back, to wolves with long snouts, there's an organ in there that helps them regulate temperature, and air can go through it, but theirs is so small that they can't regulate temperature. Strain at rest. Difficulty picking up and chewing food. So this is the digestive problems that I mentioned. Inability to digest food. Unable to reach back end to clean or soothe any irritation. So these spinal malformations that I mentioned too, we build them, or we artificially breed them to be so short and stubby that they don't have the ability to groom themselves or scratch themselves. Seizures. So, really sad video and weird to see it framed like that, I think, because people are so used to seeing pugs, right? They're so popular. And some do better than others, and there are some breeders that do better than others. But it's just an example of how far it can go. Man, that really looks like you, Miley. Do you see her next to this picture? I didn't realize I picked the Catalina for that. That's not Miley, but it does look like her a lot. So, point of these examples, I do have one more example to tell you about, being we can select for whatever traits we want. Is it always responsible? No. And it can go really, really far. And when you look at videos like that, it just shows that you can make just a disabled variety of dog. Connor's gonna talk to you guys a little bit for a second about his experience with some brachycephalic dogs as a vet tech. He was telling me about them yesterday. And it's some crazy stuff. He's getting his mic set up right now. Hold on. Give him a second.
Ah!
Oh.
Is it working?
Yes.
All right. I got some demonstrations for you guys.
Connor's got some demonstrations for you guys.
I need paper towels. There are so many cords around here.
I know, it's so bad.
We'll
He's
use this
doing like a
cloth.
laser maze right now. Trying to.
Yeah. Ugh.
Okay.
All right. So, the UGA Bulldog. Are you guys familiar with that mascot? The college mascot. That bulldog. Horrible genetics. Well, my veterinary clinic came from.
You're loud.
Am I really loud? Hold on, I can turn down here.
It's fine.
Nope, I'm already 0. Are you going -10?
You're fine.
Okay. I'll talk less loud. My veterinarian that owned the clinic came from UGA, and they specialized in bulldogs, Georgia bulldogs specifically. There was like this like subsection. So the C-sections, I think they ran about $6-7 grand, and that's with like a 70% survival rate for the puppies. So that's just a C-section. The artificial insemination beforehand, everything that goes into it, $3-4 grand. So generally, after all of the care, it was about 15 grand for a litter size of 4 to 6 if you're lucky, and the owners could sell them for a lot of money after that. A lot of money. So we had the genetics figured out. We had it all figured out. I often, I'm gonna take you guys from the beginning to the end. It'll be pretty quick. So I had to do very weird things to dogs because they couldn't inseminate. The males couldn't inseminate the females. It was very weird, very uncomfortable.
Because of the spinal thing that I was talking to you guys about, right? They are incapable of insertion.
They cannot mate. They cannot mate on their own. Bulldogs cannot mate on their own. It is weird, uncomfortable, 17 at the time, very awkward. And you get that done. You artificially inseminate the female, and you would come back. You do it a few times. You do lots of tests to make sure everything was good. A lot of blood tests, progesterone, all this. Anyway, we won't go into all that nerdy stuff. But then it came time for the C-section because they cannot give birth naturally. There is no way.
They can't give birth naturally.
0 way. The dog's heads, the puppies' heads are too big for the birth canal. Cannot happen. So you have to do a C-section. It's very expensive, and it is a all hands on deck. We shut down the clinic. We schedule it ahead of time, and we go into surgery. 70% survival rate, by the way. So puppy comes about this size. Imagine the head is like that. That's more accurate. Huge, chunky. They're already pretty big. So what you have to do, because they didn't go through the birth canal and they did not have a natural birth, you got to wake them up, or else they just die because they're not connected to the placenta. So you take a clean towel, you put their head here, you make sure you hold their head, stabilize them, and then this is the speed we go at. You might want to back up.
How am I going to back up?
Right there. There we go. This is the speed we have to go at to wake them up. Boom. Boom.
Yep.
And then you have to be sure not to have the puppy sling out and go between your legs. And you're doing massive, like you go as hard as you possibly can, as hard to wake them up. You get the fluid out of their lungs, you wake them up, and then they oftentimes need epinephrine too to help, and it is awful.
Can you re-explain to them why you have to do that? Because it's not a natural birth, because you have to get fluid out of their lungs that would otherwise be happening. If in a normal natural birth for a dog, that happens.
Yeah, when they come through the birth canal, they're being waked up, the hormones are kicking in, and it squeezes out all the fluid in the lungs, because otherwise they're connected to the placenta, and that's where they're getting the oxygen. So they need their lungs to work. So you gotta clear it out. This is for bulldogs, specifically like the Georgia Bulldogs mascot, like type of genetics. So
English bulldog?
It's awful. And then you have about 30% of them die on you. They just don't wake up no matter what you do. You have to do surgeries oftentimes to correct the palates like right away. It's miserable. So it is not, they would be extinct. If we didn't help them, they would be extinct. I don't think they should be around. We were not allowed to take dog or bulldogs out into like the play area with the other animals, because about 2 minutes in like 70-degree weather, they're heat stroke. 30-degree weather, I had a bulldog go into a critical heat stroke in 5 minutes. 30 degrees outside. Like
30 degrees.
30 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. 5 minutes of play, like regular dog play, and critical heat stroke. We had to bring
Heat
ice.
stroke?
Yeah. Because they couldn't cool off. It's fat, foldy, gross.
Is it not, like snowing? Do you mean Celsius?
No, I'm talking 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It was a
So it's
fundraiser.
winter. It's freezing.
It was freezing outside, and they overheated in 5 minutes. We were astonished because the dog was about to die. It was like laying there dying.
Because it like ran around. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's terrible. Don't do it. Okay. Come to my subathon tomorrow. Alveus' subathon.
Connor's starting a subathon tomorrow on the Alveus Sanctuary channel. So
help me keep my job.
Right. Thank you for that demonstration. I appreciate it.
No
But yeah,
problem.
Connor and I were talking about this yesterday when I was doing research on Animal Quest, and I was like, man, I just can't believe that people don't know this, including myself. Right? It's gone really far. Does that include Frenchies? Frenchies are also brachycephalic dogs. Can they give natural birth? Connor, do you know?
Frenchies?
Yeah.
I think some of
Maybe?
them can. Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of the same problems, or a lot of similar problems they'll face because of how we have selected them. So, Shih Tzu, same way. Brachycephalic dogs is these short nosed, short legs, short spine dogs. So, kind of crazy. I know there are people that are obsessed with these breeds, that are obsessed with pugs and accept whatever. Am I gonna are you canceled if you have one? No, I would not buy one from a breeder. I'm kind of with Connor here. I know it's kind of like it's a pretty firm take, but I do not think that they should be bred anymore. I think there are lots of rescues that are for purebred dogs. I'm sure there are bulldog rescues, French bulldog rescues, pug rescues. You may be on a waiting list for years because everybody wants them. But I would not pay a breeder at this point in my life to continue breeding these dogs. It's kind of crazy. So one more example that I have here is, hold on. Please. Is tigers, specifically white tigers. This is insane. I learned this yesterday. You guys have probably seen white tigers in zoos. Did you know in the U.S. all white tigers originate from a single male white continental tiger that was imported to the country decades ago? You know what that means? Came from a single male, which means they're likely all related. Or they just have to continue inbreeding. Are they albino? No, they're leucistic. We've talked about this before. It's about 1 in every 10,000 wild tigers are born leucistic. There are over 5,000 tigers in captivity in the U.S., less than 3,200 in the wild. This is not a surprising fact. You guys have probably heard it through Tiger King. But there's no place for white tigers in the wild. Again, leucistic animals happen everywhere. I've seen leucistic turkey vultures. I've seen leucistic red-tailed hawks. I've seen leucistic raccoons. You know, it happens. It's a recessive gene, right? But it's 1 in 10,000. But people love them. And when you inbreed, you get tigers like Kenny. This picture down here is a white tiger that was living at Big Cat Rescue. I think he lived less than 10 years. And there's some obvious genetic defects here because of the inbreeding done. There's a little video, or here's a video talking a little more about white tigers.
White tigers are simply Bengal tigers. They're not albinos, and they're not a separate species, as many people think. They result when 2 Bengal tigers who carry a recessive gene controlling coat color are inbred with each other. It's been said that the entire white tiger population originated from one single white tiger captured in the wild and has been inbred ever since. In order to retain this recessive gene, zoos and breeders must continually inbreed father to daughter, father to granddaughter, and so on. The same gene that causes white fur also causes many other genetic problems like cleft palates, scoliosis of the spine, mental impairments, and crossed eyes. Sadly, as many as 80% of inbred tiger cubs often die. Cubs are disposed of by breeders when they're born with deformities. To get that one perfect white tiger magicians and entertainers want, tigers are forced to produce as many as 30 cubs. The other 29 cubs who aren't perfect, who are born orange, who are very little value to those breeders, are many times euthanized. I didn't think it would do that. I thought it would pause the video. Sorry. Quick note. A
a lot of times too, I've talked about this before, but I just want to mention, because we're going down this road anyway, this is not necessarily about white tigers, but a lot of these cubs when they're born, because people love taking pictures and playing with baby tigers, but obviously when they get to be like juvenile age, teenager age, they become a massive liability and you can't use them for that anymore. So there's this system in the US where they'll breed lots and lots of tiger cubs. And even if they're orange ones, if they're white ones, even better. That's a lot more money. But if they're orange ones, then they'll keep them when they're little and they'll run photo ops and they'll run tiger experiences with the babies and then kill them. To me, I think it's worse. They don't euthanize them necessarily when they get to be a teenager and they get to be dangerous. They sell them off to game ranches. Game ranches are really popular in Texas. I'm not sure if you've seen them before, but there are people that fence off property, fence off like large amounts of acreage, and bring in wildlife, antelopes, tigers, whatever, zebras. They'll sell them to game ranches to get even more money out of them, and then release them on this land that's fenced in. And there are these tigers that are bottle fed that have been socialized by humans their entire lives growing up. Then they're sold to game ranches so people can pay to go hunt on their property and get trophy tigers. And they're tigers that are not afraid of people at all, because they've been raised by people. So it is an insane industry. Do not pay for experiences like that, please. Thank you. Back to the video. Sorry. Hold on, I'll skip ahead.
Also causes many other genetic problems like cleft breeders when they're born with deformities. To get that one perfect white tiger magicians and entertainers want, tigers are forced to produce as many as 30 cubs. The other 29 cubs who aren't perfect, who are born orange, who are very little value to those breeders, are many times euthanized. White tigers are simply a novelty with no conservation value at all. They're very rare in the wild for a reason. Possibly as few as 1 in 10,000 wild tiger births result in a white cub. They're a genetic mutation that Mother Nature eliminates. The odds are against them being able to survive infancy to adulthood in order to reproduce and pass on this mutant gene. White is quite obviously terrible camouflage for a predator who must hunt to survive. The Wildcat Sanctuary is currently home to 5 white tigers: Mohan, Simon, Jeremy, Nikita, and Callie. There have been others in the past, and sadly there will be more in the future. They are not rare in captivity. On the contrary, almost every accredited sanctuary in the country has rescued white tigers. So, it's up to us to stop supporting the cruelty involved in displaying these mythical, non-existent species. We understand their allure, but now that you know the suffering behind their beauty, we hope you'll help educate others about the sad truth behind white tigers.
So there's a dude, come on. I changed my mind about the Stream Deck. I do like the Stream Deck.
Well, I don't want to be here between 2 and 4 today.
Dude. Okay. So those are some really, really horrible examples of artificial selection, and how it can be done in a really irresponsible way to create animals that have much lower quality of life, that are not... What do you mean muted? Are you serious? Hello? Why would you say that? Virtual. I don't think that I'm muted right now. That's crazy that you said that. That's crazy. I would not even look at that if that was an abuse of power. Okay. So there are some horrible examples of what happens with artificial selection when it's not done in a responsible way. So, is it all bad? It's a really hard question, right? Oh my gosh, please! I'm gonna, thank you, can you just go full cam, please? Thank you. God, oh my God, okay. I can't, my monitors are like, I have 3 monitors, I can't find the mouse when I'm switching from monitor to monitor, but I have to click on that to move through the slides. Okay. So, is it all bad? Let's talk about some cases where artificial selection is not necessarily bad. I have a friend who breeds livestock dogs. I think I've talked to you guys about this before. He breeds livestock dogs to sell to people to live on ranches to protect their livestock. He has done some artificial selection in his dogs to adjust the angle of the dog's shoulders so that they're less likely to get arthritis. For a while, they were breeding these dogs, they're Anatolian Shepherds. They were breeding these dogs to be much taller because they wanted bigger livestock dogs, but they were breeding them taller and they were adjusting the angle of the shoulder so that it put too much pressure on their shoulder and they would get arthritis. So he's breeding them to be shorter again, so that happens less. That is artificial selection. There's hybridization of plants. There's a lot of hybridization of crops. There's artificial selection in crops. You can artificially select plants to breed with each other that makes a plant that's more water resistant and produces the same yield, right, of fruits or vegetables or whatever you're trying to grow. That's a good example of artificial selection, right? So there's lots of things that can be done with it that's good. I think if I had to make a general statement about this whole thing, like an overarching kind of, it's that I don't think that there's any reason that we should be breeding animals for color. I think if you're breeding specifically for color because you want it to look cool, it's irresponsible. And I think that it ends up being pretty whack. I think bad things come out of that. So that's how I feel about it. That's also an opinion. There are ways to purchase pets if you are purchasing a pet, if you do research. I also hate this. I hate doing presentations and being like, you just have to do your own research, because I feel like that's what I'm here for. But I can't tell you with every example, that you're going to come across of what I think you should do. So I think breeding for color is generally not a good idea. I think a lot of bad things come out of it. I think humans go too far. I think they get really selfish with wanting cool things that look cool, that make them more money, and it's at the detriment of that animal. Breeding for aesthetics is whack. Yes. Yeah, I would say I would agree with you. So, thoughts on that? What do you guys think? Sorry, they're being loud. Yep. Very good. How breeding for color equals bad. Like those tiny dogs. How can I responsibly own reptiles? If you guys have questions too, we can go through some of these at the end. This is a good conversation to have. You can do #ask and then write your question. Responsibly owning reptiles. I want to say the research thing again. You have to make sure that the breeder that you're buying for is reputable. I would not purchase rare color morphs. I think another safe way to do it, like I was saying with these dog breeds, if you really want a pug, you can have one. I would just rescue it. I wouldn't support the proliferation of that breed. And you can go through reptile rescues as well. There are lots of reptile rescues. So I think that's a pretty safe way to do it if you're not sure, or if you don't think you can do enough research about the breed itself. If it's an animal that is already alive, that already was surrendered and needs a home, it needs a home. It doesn't matter what it is. Cool? Okay. We'll go over some more questions and oh my gosh, Space. Can you put it on the cam in the left corner? Thanks. Okay. Oh no, I forgot you took the mouse. Okay. Okay. Recommendations then. Carefully consider parrots as your choice of pet. That goes for, carefully consider your choices of pets because of everything that we just talked about. Source your pets responsibly. What I was just saying before, you can do a lot of research on a pet if you're interested in getting one. Reduce your consumption of single-use products. That is going a little bit forgot this was about parrots. I know, we really derailed here. Reduce consumption of single-use products. It just goes back to the Amazon. And not needing to take virgin resources from our natural forests. Keep an eye out for whack exotic animal content online and report it. There's lots of people breeding insane dogs online and breeding super rare color morphs and like purple snakes and not purple, you know what I mean? Keeping an eye out for that is good, and then spreading the word about parrots, what happened to bulldogs. We derailed. Okay, if you want to talk about Miley specifically when we're talking about hybridization and artificial selection, Miley's a pretty healthy bird. She acts just like Tico. She looks like Tico, I mean, minus the plumage, right? And I haven't seen any health issues with her, but the important thing is that there's no research done. I was originally just going to talk about macaws and talk about hybridization with them, but I couldn't find enough. The only academic paper I could find just said, we haven't done any research, and this is why more research needs to be done. We don't know how it's going to affect them. How it's going to affect these birds. I can say Connor and Kayla have told me about experiences that they've had with hybrid birds of prey, right? Orion, prairie, peregrine, falcon hybrid. Again, I didn't buy him. He was given to me. They had a hybrid at their last workplace that had a bunch of seizures. We don't know how it's going to affect them when you mess with genetics like that. So there's the whole, the just organic, crazy, not outlined, not structured spiel about all that. We're going to do our last survey of Animal Quest right now. Are you ready? Please only participate in the survey if you're over 18. This is the last survey we're doing. Again, this is for a research project. Really, really appreciate you guys helping with it. How likely are you to get a parrot as a pet? If you already have a parrot, please answer the likelihood that you will get another one. You just put A, B, C, D, or E in the chat to answer this question. Only if you're over 18. Thank you very much. There's just a few questions. We will go through them really quick. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This project has been really neat. I appreciate you guys participating. It's going to be cool. We are pioneering conservation education online, people. Not just me. Everybody smile. Look at us go. They're holding hands. 80% saying not at all likely. Pretty cool. All right. All right. Next question. 79% not at all likely. Please select all statements that apply to your reason for the response above. A, because I believe parrots make good pets. B, because I believe parrots are intelligent. C, I believe most parrots are sold legally. D, I believe parrots do not make good pets. And E, I believe most parrots are sold illegally. They're being really loud. I don't remember them making noise on Tico's Animal Quest, do you? I think it's because they have things to play with. %50 saying D. 34% saying E. Your age range. How old are you? A, B, C, D, E. 18 to 27, 28 to 37, 38 to 47, 48 to 57, 58 plus. You guys have made a mess. Do you want this cardboard? Do you want this cardboard? They like tearing things. All right, 69% saying A. Nice. Next question. Your gender. A, female, B, male, C, non-binary. +30 and on Twitch. Dude, come on. What? That's so fine. Look at Tico chewing. That's a piece of wood, just so you know. That's a wood block that Tico is destroying right now. Insane. 70% male, 25% female, 5% non-binary. Thank you. This should be the last. No, 2 more questions. Your highest education level, is it A, high school, B, college 2-year, C, college 4-year, or D, a graduate degree? What you got? I have a 4-year college degree in agriculture. Agricultural education and communications. dirt degree. Wee. I gotta pee. I forget the researchers watch these. Sorry. %35% of you saying 4-year degree, 35% saying high school, 34% saying 4-year college degree. Very interesting. Thank you. And the last question here, do you have pets? Do you currently own any pets? If yes, what kinds? You'll type #answer and then what species of pet you have. If you don't have any, you can do #answer space no. It's fine. Lots of examples in the chat there of how that's structured. So big shout outs to you guys for participating in all these surveys. I really appreciate it. I know it was a lot of questions for you to answer, and I know it was 4 whole episodes of it, but this data is going to be really, really neat to learn more about how we can teach people about conservation. So it's very important. You guys are part of something pretty cool there, so thank you. It's not often that you can get this much information from this many people in this amount of time. So I'm very lucky to be in that position to actually get some data, pretty sweet. So thank you so much for that. A big shout out to Space. I mean, you guys know Space is always in my computer during these animal quests, and he runs those polls as well. So shout outs to Space. All right, that was survey number 2. Thank you so much. The last thing that we have to do here is a Q&A. Let's answer some questions. Space, great news. I have contacts in right now, so I'm going to be able to read that screen just fine. If you want to just pull up the questions on that monitor. Yeah. On this monitor, I will move it. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. I can read those. Whoa. Okay. All right. Question number 1. Where'd you go? The thing's off. Thank you. Question number 1. Shrez said, has there ever been a Catalina Macaw in the wild? I don't think so. There are some parrots that have hybridized in the wild. It's not very common. But like the Sphinx macaw, the one that was going extinct, or the one that went extinct, it did breed with another species of macaw, and they were really upset about it. I remember that, and that it did it naturally. But if there's this is just a shell. If there's a Catalina macaw in the wild, I would say it's pretty safe to assume that it was just a released pet. I'm not sure if that's happened naturally. Stelfy said, how long are Miley's tail feathers? Like, very long. Do we have Tico feathers in here? I thought we did. Oh, yeah. Here, I'll show you a Tico feather, guys. Oh, thanks. Oh my gosh. Because their tail feathers are about the same length. Please. Okay. You guys can make your guesses on how many inches you think this is. This is a Tico tail feather. I'm 5'1". Twenty-one. It's pretty crazy. Tico's tail feathers are cool, huh? Blue and gold. Blue and gold macaw. Blue, gold. Blue, gold. Blue and gold. Blue and gold macaw. Pretty sweet. Yay, Miley. Mick said, can it cause neurological problems to breed hybrid macaws? I touched on this a little bit earlier. There's not enough research done to know how it affects those birds. Is it way more likely that they'll have neurological problems if you're breeding for color? Yes. But I can't tell you for sure yes or no, like it causes this, you know, because there's just not enough research done. Oh, this one's tough. Do you think if someone had a pug that is genetically suffering, they should euthanize it? I mean, that's the same for any animal. If an animal doesn't have good quality of life, it should be euthanized. You know, if it's in pain, it should be euthanized. It'll just depend on the individual animal.
Want me to give you an equation for quality of life?
Connor wants to give you guys an equation for quality of life. Miley tail feathers.
All right. Another animal hospital trick. So pick 5 things that your animal likes to do. If it can't do 3 of those 5, it's not having a good quality of life. That's a good time to euthanize at that point. So if your dog can't eat well, it can't sleep well because it's having breathing problems, can't breathe well, can't run around and play, and then, I don't know, take a bath. It could probably only take a bath. So yeah, probably should euthanize it at that point. It sucks. It's hard.
There you go. Yeah, so it just depends on the individual animal, but I guess, yeah, the ones that we talked about today are going to be far more likely to run into those problems and need to be euthanized. We'll do this one really quick. Do you recommend having a degree to enter into this field? If so, what degree? Yeah, of course. I mean, having a biology degree would be great. I think that's the ideal. Connor and Kayla both have biology degrees. Ella's working on a degree in wildlife biology. It is going to help quite a bit, but that being said, I have a degree in agriculture. And I've seen lots of people come up in the world of exotics without a college degree. I think the more important, do I recommend that? No. I think the more important thing in this field is your experience. So you need to do lots of volunteering if you're capable or if you're able to do that, and lots of internships with lots of different types of animals, because that's going to help you climb the ladder. But the degree is what gets you in the door. Okay. This is a hard question. I'm a little bit nervous to answer this question. What places should I go to instead of zoos so I'm not supporting these kind of practices? This just takes a lot of research, and it takes a lot of keeping your eyes open, because there are some zoos that are garbage, and there are some zoos that are really, really great. There are AZA zoos that do a really good job. San Diego Zoo is excellent. I think a big red flag for me when I'm looking at places to visit, to check out, is if they have hands-on animal experiences, especially if it's with like a mid-size or a large carnivore. Your tigers, your baby chimpanzees, your baby gorillas, your bobcats, you know, anything like that where it's a really high liability animal and they're like, you can pay to take a picture with it. Usually a red flag. Would not recommend attending those places. A lot of these roadside zoos don't do a great job, but generally speaking, if it's an AZA zoo, that's a zoo accredited, Association of Zoos and Aquariums, in the U.S., they usually do a pretty good job. You can judge the enclosures for yourself. It's really hard to say. State to state, it's different on what they require for size of enclosures and what it looks like. But you know, some people look at enclosures and they're like, yeah, that's enough. And some people look at them and they're like, an animal should not be in there. That's kind of up to you as well. Thank you, Virtual, for linking that. It's very cool. AZA.org, you can find a zoo or aquarium to go look at those. But you go to something like San Diego. San Diego is my gold standard zoo. You go there, they have conservation messaging everywhere. They have conservation messaging inside of the stalls of the bathroom. When you go to the bathroom at San Diego, they have a frozen zoo. So they do artificial insemination at San Diego Zoo. They collect sperm. They increase genetic diversity within captivity and are protecting wild populations in doing that. They have really, really important conservation breeding programs, species survival programs. A lot of zoos are part of SSP's species survival programs, so they can be really important. But my general is, if they're offering experiences where you get to handle the animals, if it's an animal like the one that I talked about, not a good idea. I wouldn't go to private zoos. I wouldn't go to roadside zoos. But AZA zoos, usually okay. Can these birds fly? Tico? Yes. Tico has flown away, not from here. At Tico's old home in California, she flew away a couple times, so she's very capable of flight. Miley has never flown that I know of or her previous owner knows of. Why? Not sure. She was raised by humans. I don't know. She never figured it out. She has no physical disabilities that would prevent her from being able to fly, but she has not. We do have hopes for teaching these birds how to fly in the training center, but these birds also can bite really, really hard. Like you saw, they destroy wood and blocks and stuff all the time. And getting them flighted and capable of flying to us is enough of a concern that we've delayed that process for right now. But it is good for their welfare to be able to fly. I would love that for them. We'll see. We'll see where we go with that. Good question. Are birth defects not a thing in the wild, or is that just animals with defects can't make it in the wild? They, of course, exist in the wild. It happens, you know. Inbreeding happens in the wild sometimes as well. Leucism happens in the wild as well. Connor's doing a little cheer. He has a camera right now on a leucistic red-tailed hawk. It happens. They just don't do as well. Natural selection. You guys know how that works, right? Animals that are leucistic that are born white. I've seen leucistic white-tailed deer. White deer. They're more susceptible to predators. They're less likely to survive. That's why they get weeded out in the population. That's why birth defects get weeded out in the population. But we take birth defects and proliferate them if they're cute. So they do exist in the wild, but they get weeded out. They don't have a place in the wild. Can I use your stream as one of the sources of information for my essay about breeding trouble? You can try, yeah. I mean, I don't know how you cite this, but it's fine with me. I just don't know if your teacher will like it, but that's fine. You can filter. You can do an advanced search on Google and only pull up articles that are .gov or .org or .edu if you want. That's what I do for Animal Quest. If you want to find some better sources. I think Gandhi got a little confused. Or maybe he just did it a little late. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, eventually. This is my part, is collecting the data and doing this with you guys. I'm not the PhD students that's going to be putting it together, but I'm excited to eventually share it with you guys. This is just a water bottle. It's just water. Kind of derailing a bit. Thank you for the 5. Fox update. I've talked to Texas Parks and Wildlife twice in the past 2 days. Actually spoken to them on the phone. Believe it or not. We submitted that permit 7 months ago. Connor? We submit that permit 7 months ago? We submitted the permit 7 months ago, but I finally talked to them yesterday. They're a little behind. That's okay. But I talked to them yesterday. They called the game warden. Game warden is coming out to do an inspection, hopefully within the next week. Once we pass the inspection, we are good to go. Whew. It has been a process. It has been a ride, guys. Okay.
I love the government.
There he is. Let's see.
If people ask us what the fox says, I'm going to lose my shit every time.
Okay, well, you just farmed it, so enjoy.
It is so dumb. It is so old.
Do you know why inbreeding the tigers makes them white? I understand what you're trying to say here. So leucistic tigers occur in the wild 1 every 10,000. It's a recessive gene. It's when they... Can you explain the difference between leucism and being albino?
Yeah. Okay. So, this is a leucistic red-tailed hawk. Her name is
Window to Wildlife.
Angel. Oh my God. Focus. There we go. So she's been changing colors quite often. You see she still has that pigment, brown pigment in the head, and she still has a few red tail feathers. So albino there's a complete lack of pigment in their entire body. So they have the red eyes, they have white feathers, fur, and then leucism can vary. It's just a lack of pigment, and what they're starting to lack of pigment somewhere, but it has been attributed to a brain tumor is what they're starting to attribute to, and leucistic animals actually tend to be tamer towards people because they don't have that as big of a fight or flight tendency because of the brain tumor. So it can be genetic. That brain tumor can be genetic, but also it might not be. So it can vary. It just, it can be a few white feathers is a color morph, all the way to like being almost albino. Like a leucistic, you could have a fully white animal with regular color eyes and it's still leucistic. It's not albino, if that makes sense.
Great, thank you.
Okay, bye.
So then, why in breeding the tigers, what makes them white? Starts with one leucistic tiger, and then they breed them together, and breed them together, and breed them together, and breed them together, until they're all white. So it's a lot of inbreeding that happens there. This is a little above my pay grade, I think. How do I educate my friends with bulldogs without feeling defensive? Here's what I would recommend. I would not go to them if they have like a 2-year-old dog and be like, hey, did you know that dog and that you bought that dog, this industry, this dog, but I don't think that's worth, because what are they going to do, kill the dog? Like what are they going to bring it back? I don't think that's a good idea. I think if you get to a conversation where they're like, I want to buy another one, then you can be like, hey, it's kind of similar. You know what? I had this conversation with my mom. Not about the same thing, but about barn cats. Me and my mom get heated over barn cats because my cat, Hansel, you guys have met Hansel before, right? I've explained this. When I've gone home to see my family, Hansel's been on stream, and he lives outside, and outdoor cats are so bad for wildlife. They're so bad for wildlife, and they're so bad for birds. I hate outdoor cats are so bad. But Hansel's lived outside his entire life. I tried to bring him inside when I was a senior in high school because I was like, outdoor cat's bad. And I tried to bring him inside, and he can't. He's only ever lived outside. He's peeing everywhere all over the house. He's super stressed. He's like meowing, trying to leave the house. So at this point, Hansel's an outdoor cat. And I was just like, you know what? Fine. He can live outdoors until he dies, and that's it. And I've sent my mom articles, and I've told her a million times about and they kill billions of birds a year, whatever. And when my mom is like, I want to get more barn cats because we have more rodents, and Hansel's getting old, and he's not chasing them anymore, so I'm going to get more barn cats. Oh my gosh. That's when you have the conversation. Then you jump in, and then you're like, hey, just so you know, you can do this and this instead. Or you can get this dog instead. Or maybe, hey, look at this bulldog rescue. There are all these bulldogs that already need a home. Or there are all these French bulldogs that need to, but that kind of thing. But I would not just like have it with somebody that already has a pet that's like, I don't know. Ooh. Have I seen first-hand impacts of irresponsible breeding on animals you have worked with? Patchy. Yeah, Patchy was bred for color, to be sold in a pet store, and he was only born with one eye. Would you consider Maverick irresponsible? Would I buy Maverick from a breeder? No. But his legs are damn short and not ideal. But his snout is pretty, it's long-ish. He's all right. You know what? I used to breed rabbits for color growing up. I had a rabbitry. I had a business. when I was in middle school and high school, I would breed rabbits, Holland Lops and Dwarf Hotos, and I would try to breed them to get the right markings on them. And I showed rabbits through 4-H growing up. This is well before I knew any of this stuff, right? And then I also bred dairy goats. And a lot of the dairy goats that we bred, I raised Nigerian dwarfs. We would breed them for color. Because people wanted tricolor goats. They wanted spotted goats. They wanted goats with blue eyes, et cetera, et cetera. And one of my friends, actually, you know what? One of the goats that I bred for color. This is when I was 13. I picked a buck with blue eyes and like a bunch of colors, bred the two together, and she had one baby and the other was a stillborn. Could that have to do with it? Maybe. I had another friend who bred goats, and she was breeding to get the smallest, most colorful Nigerian dwarfs. And she had this baby goat that was like, had neurological problems. Its legs must have been like this big, but it was fat and round. Cute as can be, it looked like a toy, but legs were like straight, like couldn't really bend her legs. She would like walk like this, like all her legs were peg legs, and would like run into things, and was just like kind of, you know, like had neurological damage or neurological problems. So I think those are probably related. Animal Quest is once a month. This is the last parrot one. I don't remember the decibel level. I think it's around 125 or something, or 120. It's just below the threshold for pain, just above the threshold for hearing loss from prolonged exposure. So you may lose your hearing if it's like there constantly, but it's not going to hurt. They're very loud. It's 120. Yeah, they can be really, really loud. Oh, what a good question, Mick. Where can we buy those plushies? We'll have it linked in chat here. If you want a Stompy plushie, get one for yourself. They're gonna be on Amazon really soon. If you guys want those, we're making plushies for every ambassador that we have here. These two will have plushies as well. It'll be sick. The animal quests are highlighted as videos on my channel, I believe. So I think, right? They're on there, so you should be fine. They should all be in there. Yeah, so you can watch them there. Vinegaroon plushie. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. All right. Do all animals at Alveus come from other sanctuaries, or are there any direct rescue situations? We only have 2 ambassadors at Alveus that were rescued from the wild. Our crows fell out of the nest when they were little and were imprinted when they were raised by rehabbers, so they're not capable of surviving. Those are the only wild caught ambassadors that we have. The rest of them all have different stories. The donkeys were rescued off of a feedlot, Central Texas. These guys were rescued from California. Tico was dropped off in a box. Connor. He's walking around. He left with his mic on. He's not trolling. He doesn't know. Connor? Connor! Okay, ignore like a little bit of static. I just tried to mute his mic. It's still there though. But it's low. That's okay. Only a couple more questions. Hey, can you turn your mic off?
Oh my god, it is up.
Okay, maybe you just can't leave with it because it's static when you left.
Okay, I turned.
Thank you. You're good now.
Coming back. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Alright, bye.
Alright, okay. A couple more questions here. A couple more questions. This one's a good question. I actually am not sure yet. Who do we have left? We have the chinchillas. We have Winnie. We have the chinchillas. We have Winnie. We have Pickles. We have Isopods. We have Mr. McTrain. And the crows. I think that it might be the chinchillas. I think the chinchillas might be next. They've been waiting very patiently. All right. I don't think, sorry, really quick for this one. I don't think I meant to phrase it like that. Plumage is just their feathers. So they both have plumage. They just have different color plumage. All right, last question. No, he's fine. He's fine. He's doing a subathon for Alveus, guys. Subathon starts tomorrow. After my keeping stream, I'm gonna raid into the subathon, and then I'm staying here tomorrow night as well. Dude, where is the freaking mouse? Space, can you just get the question off, please? Holy cow! I didn't realize how much I use that stream deck. Thank you. Okay, well, guys, that is the Animal Quest episode for July. We do these once a month, and that's the last parrot one, which is pretty cool. I know we derailed and weren't talking about parrots for a lot of it, but it's a segue. A lot of these ambassadors are segues to talk about more than just them. So hopefully you learned a little bit about the parrots or a little bit about Miley. You did great. Congratulations, you're a star today. Very cool. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'll talk about this in a really general way as quick as I can. I realize that I do Alveus streams once a week, and then most of my content is just chatting and everything else. Alveus is only as big as I am as a creator, so I appreciate you guys attending these streams, because one thing I'm aware of is if I only did this content, I'd be much smaller, you know? So I need to do all that other stuff. It's also really fun. I like doing it, but this is what it's all about on my channel. So if you're here for these streams, that means the world to me. This is what I'm on the platform for. So thank you so much if you stayed for it. I hope it wasn't too dense for you. I hope you like learning about all this, and also appreciate if you're there for my other stuff. You know, there's a big contrast between this kind of stream and the stream last night. So thanks for sticking with me on all that. I appreciate it. It is a weird system we have there. So speaking of which, today is Friday. Tomorrow, weird duality, thank you. Today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday. I will be live from probably 10:30 until 5 tomorrow. Some people used to get upset because I did 2 or 3 keeping streams that started at 9 a.m. That's only because Winnie needed her bottle that early. But I try to be live towards the tail end of Nick's stream. I share so many viewers with Nick. So that's why I'm going to start a little bit later tomorrow. And we'll do the whole keeping stream tomorrow, and then raid into Connor for the subathon on the Alveus Sanctuary channel. So I will be live all day tomorrow on my stream and the Alveus Sanctuary stream. Big stretch. Big stretch, big wings. So Alveus all day tomorrow, and then Sunday, I'm on Nick's stream again with Milena and Britt for a tequila tier list at 10 a.m. And then we might be doing a girls' day with Canute after that. Which sounds awful. It's going to be Alveus all day tomorrow for the keeping stream, staying here overnight for the Alveus subathon, get back to Nick's stream in the morning, 10 a.m., get drunk on tequila at 10 a.m. with Britt and Milena, and then it's going to be me, Britt, Milena, maybe Emmy, and Canute working out, hopefully, on Sunday as well. We'll see if Canute has the time for that. If it's not Sunday, we'll try to do it another day. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean Emaru, not Emmy the child. She's not gonna work out with us. Sorry, because I said Britt. Anyway, and then Monday, meal prep Monday, nothing Tuesday, nothing Wednesday. Streams back Thursday. So, yeah, good group. Yeah, that'll be fun. Thank you guys so much for watching Animal Quest. Really appreciate it. We'll go to the end stream here. I don't know who to host. Who's live? Who do I raid? Why did Rich Campbell call me? Raid Canute. Canute. Okay. Bitch. I hate when people do that. I hate when people call in and they don't answer when you call back. It's so annoying. Wait, I'm gonna host Zoil. I'm gonna raid Zoil. It looks like he's doing an IRL. Alright. Setting up to raid Zoil. Go say hi to him. I will see you guys tomorrow for the keeping stream here at Alveus, and then I will see you Sunday for God knows what. But it's gonna be tough. Everybody clap for Miley. Do you have anything to say? She doesn't like it. So, that's a no. Sorry. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.